Hello and welcome, everyone. My name is Sonia McMahon-Martin. I'm the Bereavement Educator with Canadian Mental Health Association, Windsor-Essex County Branch.
Buenas tardes, yo me llamo Sonia McMahon-Martin y soy la educadora sobre el proceso de duelo.
Today I will be talking about grief, and please be reminded that the presentation is brought to you by the collaborative efforts of the Windsor-Essex Local Immigration Partnership, the Migrant Worker Community Program, Positive Pathways, and Canadian Mental Health Association.
Bueno, nuestra sesión hoy se va justamente a concentrar, es un seminario educativo sobre el tema del duelo. En la pantalla tienen ustedes las distintas organizaciones que están apoyando este taller.
And to start today, we will do the land acknowledgement. I would like to offer that. While it is a well-traveled land, I respectfully acknowledge and express my sincerest gratitude to be able to gather, work, learn, and reside today in the traditional territory of the Three Fires Confederacy of First Nations, comprised of the Ojibwe, the Odawa, and the Potawatomi peoples.
Can you stop there, Sonia? Aunque vamos a hacer el reconocimiento de la tierra, aunque es una tierra muy transitada, reconozco respetuosamente y expreso mi más sincero agradecimiento por poder congregarme, trabajar, aprender y vivir hoy en el territorio tradicional de la Confederación de Tres Fuegos de las Primeras Naciones, compuestas por los pueblos Ojibwe, Odawa y Potawatomi. Thank you, Sonia.
I identify as a settler and acknowledge the importance of the treaties, and am committed to the calls to action in the Truth and Reconciliation Commission of Canada.
Me identifico como colonizadora y reconozco la importancia de los acuerdos y estoy comprometida con los llamamientos a la acción de la Comisión de la Verdad y la Reconciliación en Canadá.
Indigenous peoples continue to experience trauma caused by colonial violence. At CMHA, we are committed to advocating for and reconciling with Indigenous communities across Canada.
Las personas indígenas siguen experimentando el trauma causado por la violencia colonial. En la Asociación Canadiense de Salud Mental, CMHA, nos comprometemos a defender y a reconciliarnos con las comunidades indígenas de todo Canadá.
Thank you, Gladys. And we will now get into the presentation material.
Ahora vamos a ver la presentación del material.
And if you do have any questions throughout the presentation, please feel welcome to write them in the chat and we will address them.
Si ustedes tienen preguntas sobre algún tema que estamos presentando, lo escriben en el chat y nosotros lo vamos a responder.
So in the time we have together today, we'll talk about the importance of both grief and mourning, as well as common reactions to loss.
Entonces, en el tiempo que tenemos hoy, vamos a cubrir sobre el tema del dolor y el tema de cómo recobrarnos de ese dolor.
We often think about our emotional reactions to loss, but there are four other realms.
Bueno, nosotros vemos que hay 4 elementos dentro de este proceso.
We also, in addition to the physical realm, we have the in addition to the emotional realm, we also grieve in the physical, behavior, social, and spiritual realms.
Sonia, if you like to go on until the end of the slide, then I will interpret the whole thing.
Okay, as long as you're okay with that,
Yeah,
yes.
yes.
We will discuss realistic expectations, healthy coping strategies, normal grief versus clinical depression, and taking care of ourselves.
Entonces, los objetivos de este aprendizaje es considerar la importancia del duelo y el luto, y entender reacciones comunes a las pérdidas emocionales, físicas, los comportamientos sociales, espirituales. También las expectativas realistas. También aprender estrategias de afrontamiento saludables. Ver la diferencia entre el duelo normal versus la depresión clínica. Y últimamente el cuidado, el autocuidado, el cuidado de uno mismo. Thank you.
So we tend to use the words grief and mourning to mean the same thing, but they're actually different. Grief is the internal meaning associated with death, consisting of feelings, thoughts, and images. We naturally feel our grief, but the part that many do not feel comfortable with and tend to engage in is the work of mourning. That is also a very important part of our lost journey. Mourning is the outward expression of grief, and we must mourn in order to heal.
Generalmente se piensa que el duelo y el luto son la misma cosa, pero son algo diferente. El duelo es la reacción emocional intensa ante la muerte. El duelo es el estado interno asociado a la muerte que consiste en sentimientos, pensamientos e imágenes. El luto es la expresión externa del dolor, el dolor que se hace público. El luto es la forma de superar la tristeza propia. Hay que pasar por el proceso de duelo para poder sanar.
As mentioned, there are 5 realms of the grief experience and how we're impacted by loss: emotional, physical, behavioral or cognitive, social, and spiritual. We will look at them one by one.
Bueno, como se sabe, hay 5 círculos en el proceso del duelo. ¿Cómo te afecta el duelo? En la parte física, en el comportamiento cognitivo, en la parte emocional, espiritual y social.
So first of all, emotional reactions that we experience in regards to loss. Shock, numbness, and denial are very common. They're actually coping mechanisms that are quite helpful, since it's very difficult to accept the pain of loss all at once. Relief and release may be experienced especially after a long illness, when someone's quality of life was very poor. We tend to feel guilt when there is that sense of relief, but when someone had very minimal quality of life, that is normal and expected. Anger can be expressed also as irritability, a way of protesting what has happened. Normally, when we feel angry, it's a sign that there's further unresolved emotion underneath, perhaps sadness that has not yet been addressed.
Bueno, hay muchas reacciones emocionales que nosotros expresamos cuando estamos en luto. Por ejemplo, el shock, el entumecimiento, la negación, también el alivio, la descarga, el enfado, el miedo, la ansiedad y el pánico. Nos sentimos culpables, nos deprimimos y también tenemos mucho enojo. Un enojo que lo expresamos por el llanto, los gritos y los lamentos.
We also very often experience fear, anxiety, perhaps panic when we're grieving. We wonder if we'll ever feel normal again. Perhaps anxiety about the future, especially when we had lots of interaction with the person who died and relied on. Guilt is another common experience, most often for things left unspoken, things done or not done. We tend to forget about and focus on all that was done. Instead, we feel guilt on what we said that we wish we wouldn't have, or we didn't do.
Bueno, las reacciones físicas, pero también emocionales, como la ansiedad y el pánico, se manifiestan. Nosotros tenemos apretones en la garganta y el pecho, faltas de respiración, letargia, fatiga, estamos exhaustos, pérdida de apetito o un aumento de la alimentación, molestias al dormir, dolores de cabeza y de estómago, dolores de pecho.
We may also feel very depressed once we've experienced loss. These feelings of depression are not abnormal, but they may cause us to have intense sadness, as well as other symptoms such as loss of appetite. And when we grieve, it's very common also to cry, perhaps scream and wail. But remember that emotional releases can be very helpful and healing, because when we are bereaved, that means we're torn apart and we have special needs.
Sonia, for some reason, I interpret this before, just now. So now I am in reactions to cognitive and behavior.
Okay. Yes. So you did all of them. Okay. No, that's fine. So now, do you have physical next, or
yeah, we have done that. Yes.
Sorry, you did the physical.
Yeah, the physical and the emotional. What I have next is reactions of the behavior and the cognitive.
Okay. When you had entered in after anger, I thought that you were wanting to just do a few at a time. So
yes, but for some reason they were together. Sorry, it's a technical issue. It's a technical issue. Okay. But the explanation was very clear for what you are saying. So it's a reflection of what you said.
Okay, so I will do the physical then in English. Would that be helpful?
Now we do reactions of behavior. That way. Yeah.
Would you like me to do all of them at once?
No, if you don't mind, Sonia, just do this one and I will go after you. Okay.
But do everyone listed on here, Gladys?
Yeah. For some reason, those two were together. So what I have now is what you have on your screen.
Yeah, so I'll go through the entire thing unless you interrupt me.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So also, we certainly experience behavioral or cognitive reactions. It's very common once we've experienced loss to become forgetful and find it very challenging to concentrate. It can be frustrating, but there will likely be more dependence on lists. And again, that's okay. It'll likely become more difficult to complete tasks and concentrate on things such as reading, which may have been part of your day before. It is helpful to be patient with yourself and be proud and acknowledge smaller things that you're able to do, whether you feel limited due to concentration or possibly because you feel quite unmotivated. It is normally helpful to continue with some activities that you previously enjoyed, but also necessary to lighten your expectations of yourself. It might also be enjoyable to engage in new activities or maintain connection with positive, helpful family members and friends.
Thank you, Sonia. Bueno, tenemos por supuesto en nuestro duelo las reacciones de comportamiento, así también como las reacciones cognitivas. Estamos desorientados, olvidadizos, no nos concentramos, tenemos falta de iniciativa o motivación, nos preocupamos por pensamientos del fallecido y las circunstancias de la muerte, nos falta el interés en actividades que antes disfrutábamos, tenemos inquietud, exceso de actividad, pero ustedes tienen que ser pacientes con ustedes mismos. Dentro de las reacciones sociales nos retraemos, ¿verdad?, de las amistades, necesitamos retirarnos para procesar lo que ha ocurrido. Y la soledad que se siente a veces en el duelo es que a veces también nos sentimos aislados. Thank you.
And furthermore, it is very common to react in a social sense as well. we tend to perhaps not be as interested in the same things or as much activity. It may be helpful to do less socializing, but it's important to still stay connected with others in order to not become isolated. So finding that balance, that's helpful for each of us.
Bueno, y como decíamos antes, con respecto a las reacciones sociales, es importante, a veces difícil, encontrar el balance entre un aislamiento que necesitamos y el poder socializar con otros que nos dan apoyo. Thank you.
And spiritually, while some people become angry at God or whoever their higher power is chosen to be, others find that their faith becomes stronger. Some find that they experience hopeful feelings for a while, then that changes to the opposite. So we may go from enhanced faith to anger, or from anger to enhanced faith. It's also common to ask questions of why me and why now, as well as think of if only questions and statements. If only things could be different. Questioning the meaning of life in either a positive or challenging way is also very common. It's normal and may be needed to help work through our grief.
También existen nuestras reacciones espirituales. Por ejemplo, desafiar la fe, enfadarse con Dios o con un poder superior, fortalecer o aumentar la fe, volvernos cómo continuar sin la fuente de fuerza y consuelo. Preguntas de ¿por qué yo ahora? Se cuestiona el sentido de la vida también. Thank you.
So we've covered the 5 realms of the grief experience to help you understand what is normal. We'll now move into further realistic expectations about grief.
Are you going to go through this slide?
Yes, I will, unless you wanted to say something.
No, please, go ahead. I took note of what you said.
Good, okay, thank you. So realistic expectations about grief. It's certainly common to experience a large variety of feelings and thoughts when we're grieving. And it isn't about right or wrong because we deal very individually with our grief. However, we do need to feel the pain of our grief in order to heal it. And know that for many of us, grief hurts more before it hurts less, because that initial shock and numbness that is very often initially present wears off and the grief feels more intense. There are also a great deal of up and downs when experiencing grief, and it's normal to have unexpected triggers, whether due to our own thoughts and feelings or something we see, perhaps hear, or as a result of an interaction with someone else. It's also important to allow others to help us through our grief by listening and holding a safe space for us. This is in regular times and even more so as we experience grief during the COVID pandemic, because there's more isolation and less opportunity for one-on-one support, as well as social activities. While we often prefer to not ask others for help and accept it, it's very, very helpful to allow others to assist us on our grief journey and remain hopeful, knowing that we will not always feel this bad.
Bueno, y ya hemos hablado de los 5 círculos del duelo. Entonces, ahora tendríamos quizás que hablar de las expectativas realistas con respecto al duelo. El duelo implica una gran variedad de sentimientos y pensamientos. Necesitamos sentir el mismo dolor del duelo para poder sanarlo. El duelo a menudo duele más antes que duela menos. El duelo es impredecible. Necesitamos de otras personas para que nos ayuden a procesar y superar el duelo. En estos tiempos de de COVID es más difícil porque nosotros tenemos menos contactos con otras personas. Pero no siempre te sentirás mal. Thank you.
So when we're grieving, our bodies do want to move towards healing, and it's always best to face our pain rather than to try to avoid it. While it is normal to want to keep ourselves occupied, it's not helpful to keep so busy that we don't think about our loss. It's also not helpful to rely on short-term fixes, such as drugs and/or alcohol, gambling, turning to food, shopping, or for those who have had a spouse or partner die, to rush into a new relationship. Again, we need to feel our pain in order to heal it.
Entonces, ¿cómo lidiamos con el duelo? Nuestros cuerpos suelen querer seguir adelante para poder sanarse, pero nosotros tenemos que enfrentar el dolor. Tenemos que tratar de no huir, de no entumecer o reprimir el duelo pensando que ya se va a ir. Evitar mantenerte muy ocupada, evitar mantenerte muy ocupado, más ocupado que lo normal. Tampoco usar drogas o el alcohol para no sentir el dolor. Hay personas que, por ejemplo, les da por jugar, por apostar, o se refugian en la comida, o se van de compras, en exceso. O también, si usted ha perdido su pareja, no hay que apresurarse a comenzar una nueva relación romántica. Thank you.
And certainly when we grieve, it's helpful to engage in healthy coping strategies. And there are a variety that are helpful, although we also know that there's nothing that is just a quick fix and will take our grief away. It's certainly about working through our grief, not getting over it. And if some of you are touched here by what we're saying today, please know that your emotion is normal. And again, I just want to emphasize the importance of allowing yourself to be in that place. As you can see, the strategies outlined are grouped according to the 5 realms that we spoke about. So I'll just briefly outline some suggestions for you to assist in coping with your grief. So first, in the emotional realm, it's so vitally helpful to talk and to allow ourselves to cry. Maybe write in a journal, perhaps a letter to our loved one, maybe poetry, or doing creative activities such as sewing, knitting, listening to music, maybe writing a song and or playing it. Any art form is very helpful as we deal with our grief as a way of self-expression. In the physical realm, exercise is very beneficial, even if that is just for a short time, for example, a 10 or 15-minute walk. Having a massage, even a friend or family member just rubbing our shoulders and helping us relax. Doing yoga, meditation, so we can more fully breathe and reflect. Healthy diet choices and drinking a good amount of water, as well as trying to get adequate sleep, going to bed and getting up at approximately the same time every day. And accepting invitations, as well as saying no, is very helpful socially. Surrounding ourselves with supportive people, but balancing that with time alone, as well as time to reflect. And most certainly, it is more than okay, even in the midst of our sadness, to smile and laugh.
Existen muchas estrategias saludables para superar el duelo. Por ejemplo, llorar, hablar, escribir en un diario cartas. Podemos escribir cartas a la persona que hemos perdido, escribir poesía, coser, tejer, escuchar música, disfrutar el arte. Todas estas sensaciones emocionales que nosotros tenemos son normales. Pero en la parte física también tenemos estrategias. Por ejemplo, hacer ejercicio, que nos den masajes, practicar yoga, meditación, mantener una dieta saludable, tomar bastante agua y dormir tratando de mantener horarios que sean regulares. Ahora, desde el punto de vista social, debemos aceptar las invitaciones de otras, así también como rechazarlas cuando no queremos ver a esas personas. Debemos rodearnos de personas que nos apoyen, que nos hagan reflexionar, que nos hagan reír. Thank you.
Now, continuing on with the healthy coping strategies, in the cognitive realm, very, very helpful to make lists. Perhaps something you did before, but that you would likely need to do more of due to the lessened ability to remember and to concentrate. Asking for and accepting help, asking questions, keeping things as simple as possible, and recognizing what your limits are. And in the spiritual realm, being open to prayer and or meditation, exploring your belief system, whether that is the same as what it was before, or perhaps there's some new perspective gained. Reevaluating your worldview, using grief rituals, possibly lighting a candle, reading a verse every morning and or evening that's inspiration and hopeful. And certainly not to ever minimize the grief that we experience, but making a gratitude list, just listing a couple of things each day that you're thankful for in order to help keep you positive and more hopeful.
Y continuando con las estrategias saludables para sobrellevar nuestro duelo, para superarnos, una de las sugerencias es hacer listas, pedir y aceptar ayuda, hacer preguntas, mantener las cosas simples, reconocer tus límites. Todo esto estaría englobado en una cuestión cognitiva. Desde el punto de vista espiritual, nos ayudaría a los que creen en orar, meditar, explorar tu sistema de creencias, reevaluar tu visión del mundo, utilizar rituales de duelo, hacer listas de gratitud. Todo esto nos ayuda espiritualmente. Thank you.
So to further explore what we call good grieving is, I'll make a few more points to help you as you navigate the grief journey. In summary, it's necessary for us to feel what we feel and not bury our feelings. We all need to accept and work through our feelings rather than making it about it trying to be strong. Even when there's children involved, to model that emotions are very good and helpful. We also need to accept that memories hurt and bring about emotion. It's important to take time to go through and part with our loved ones' belongings, putting lots of thought into that and not trying to fool ourselves thinking the pain will go away when we do part with belongings. Rest and self-care is always needed. It needs to be part of each day in order to help work through our grief. And keeping friendships as well as being open to new ones that may be established, possibly due to your loss experience, is very, very important.
If we're talking about, si estamos hablando de el buen duelo, las sugerencias serían que te tienes que permitir sentir lo que sientes, no enterrar los sentimientos. No entierres tus sentimientos. El duelo no se trata de ser fuerte para los demás. Es buena práctica hablar, escribir, pintar, dibujar. Aceptar el dolor de los recuerdos dolorosos. Deshacerte de las pertenencias del ser querido gradualmente y cuidadosamente. hacer el descanso y el autocuidado las mayores prioridades. Y mantener las amistades y las que ya tenemos y darle la bienvenida a nuevas amistades. Thank you.
Further thoughts on what's helpful when we grieve. Having signs of life around us. Plants, pets, and people are all important in maintaining our strength and hope. Avoiding making major decisions right away. It's important to make these decisions, but not rush them. Ideally, giving it several months or even a year for large changes that need to be made. It's important to face and resolve our faith issues rather than try to avoid them. And to be very patient with ourselves and others is also needed. It's helpful to acknowledge significant days like birthdays, holidays, and anniversary dates. It does not need to be anything large or expensive, but to recognize the day by lighting a candle, reading a verse, saying a prayer, making your loved one's favorite meal, etc., are all very helpful. And it's so very important as well to trust ourselves and know that while our emotions go up and down, this will not last forever.
Continuando con el buen duelo, es importante mantener señales de vida a tu alrededor, plantas, mascotas, personas queridas. Evitar también hacer decisiones importantes durante los primeros 6 meses a 1 año siguiendo la pérdida. Enfrentar y resolver problemas de la fe, no lo evites. Ser paciente contigo mismo y con los demás. Haz planes de reconocer los días significativos a la pérdida. Por ejemplo, en ese día, si tú lo deseas, puedes prender una vela, hacer una comida que la persona que partió le gustaba, cosas significativas. Confía en ti mismo, confía en que estás donde debes estar, donde deben estar tus emociones, porque ellas van a fluctuar. Es importante reconocer que este es un proceso temporario. Thank you.
And I mentioned that there's the important piece as well to look at the difference between normal grief versus clinical depression. We're often asked, am I just grieving or am I depressed? So looking at normal grief, we tend to respond to comfort and support. And when we need to be angry, we're able to be. We relate our depressed feelings to the death of our loved one when we're experiencing normal grief. But we can also still experience moments of enjoyment in our life and show feelings of sadness and emptiness. We might have some short-lived physical complaints once in a while, as well as express guilt over a specific aspect of the death. There may also be a temporary loss of self-esteem, but with normal grief, all of these symptoms are much shorter lived than what we'll talk about in a moment, clinical depression.
Entonces, tenemos que ver la diferencia entre el duelo normal y la depresión, o sea, duelo normal versus la depresión clínica. En el duelo normal respondemos al consuelo y al apoyo. A menudo nos enfadamos abiertamente. Relacionamos los sentimientos depresivos con la muerte del ser querido, pero todavía puede tener momentos de gozo en la vida. También vamos a demostrar sentimientos de vacío y de tristeza. Podemos tener quejas físicas periódicas o de corta duración. Podemos expresar culpa propia sobre un aspecto específico de la muerte. Sentir una pérdida de autoestima temporaria, pero esto no es permanente. Todas estas reacciones tienen que ver con el duelo normal. Thank you.
And so now to look at what clinical depression is. So when we're clinically depressed, we tend to not accept support. We're very irritable and complain, but we do not directly express anger. We also do not relate our feelings of depression to a certain life event, like the loss that we experienced. It's more about an all-around sense of doom and gloom and projecting a sense of hopelessness and ongoing emptiness. We also have long-lasting physical complaints when we're clinically depressed and feel a deep and ongoing loss of self-esteem, and most definitely a time when we need to reach out for support.
Bueno, hay una diferencia entre el duelo normal y la depresión clínica. La depresión clínica, cuando estamos deprimidos, no aceptamos el apoyo. Estamos irritados, nos quejamos y no expresamos a veces directamente el enojo. No se relacionan los sentimientos depresivos a un suceso de la vida en particular. En este caso, por ejemplo, la pérdida de un ser querido. La depresión clínica demuestra una sensación general de desánimo y pesimismo. Proyecta una sensación de desesperanza y de vacío persistente. Tenemos molestias físicas de larga duración y sentimos una continua y profunda pérdida de la autoestima. Thank you.
So there are some very important things to remember as we grieve. It's important to remember that grief is a lifelong process that changes as we go through this very difficult experience. While there's not an end date to grief, if we allow ourselves to work through it, the pain does soften. It's important to talk about our loss experience and our beloved person, keeping their memory alive and speaking their name. When we think and talk about our loved one, even after time has passed, it's also normal and okay to experience emotions. Allowing these emotions is so helpful. Remember that there's no time frame for grief. And when we loved and cared for someone, that it just does not go away. It's also important and beneficial to do chosen activities to help remember our loving person. Activities such as tree plantings, creating a memory book, looking at pictures and watching home movies, making their favorite meal, and keeping what we refer to as linking objects, objects that belong to our beloved or that remind us of them. It's all very therapeutic as we work through our grief.
Bueno, hay muchas cosas para recordar. El duelo es un proceso que dura toda la vida y cambia contigo. El duelo no tiene una fecha de finalización, pero sí se hace más fácil con el tiempo. Hablar sobre el ser querido, decir su nombre seguido, mantener su memoria viva, expresar emociones. Es muy importante iniciar actividades concretas para recordar al ser querido. Plantar un árbol, crear un libro de recuerdos, ver películas, preparar sus comidas favoritas, guardar objetos de enlace, objetos que le pertenecían al ser amado o que te recuerdan de esa persona. Thank you.
So in summary from what I've spoken, here's a little verse to remind us really the importance of doing this necessary work of grieving, what we naturally feel on the inside, as well as the work of mourning, what's on the outside. Grieving is as natural as crying when we're hurt, sleeping when you are tired, eating when you are hungry, or sneezing when your nose itches. It is nature's way of healing a broken heart. A verse by Doug Manning.
Bueno, el duelo es nuestra expresión interior al dolor que tenemos por el ser que perdimos, pero también mostramos emociones hacia el exterior. Por eso está esta hermosa frase que dice que el duelo es tan natural como llorar cuando te duele, dormir cuando estás cansado, comer cuando tienes hambre o estornudar cuando te pica la nariz. Es la forma de la naturaleza para curar un corazón roto. Lo escribió Doug Manning. Thank you.
And one further verse that I'd also like to offer. The essence of finding meaning in the future is not to forget my past, as I have been told, but instead to embrace my past. For it is in listening to the music of the past that I can sing in the present and dance into the future. By Dr. Alan Wolfelt.
Bueno, y hay otro pensamiento que quiero compartir con ustedes, que es sobre la esencia de encontrar significado en la vida. La esencia de la búsqueda de su sentido en el futuro no es olvidar mi pasado, como me han dicho, sino abrazar mi pasado, porque es escuchando la música del pasado que puedo cantar en el presente y bailar hacia el futuro. Esto lo escribió Alan Wolfelt. Thank you.
And to remind us to maintain our hopefulness in spite of the deep pain that we do experience as part of our lost journey, but allowing things to flow, that every darkness is followed by a sunrise.
Bueno, y un último pensamiento es para compartir con ustedes, es que permite que las cosas fluyan, a toda oscuridad le sigue un amanecer. Thank you.
And I'd like to outline some resources and supports for you. For those located within the range of the Windsor-Essex County area, our Canadian Mental Health Association offers a bereavement resource program that includes some one-on-one seminar, some education seminars such as this one, as well as one-on-one therapy and group support. And in order to access these services, you will see the phone number on the screen, calling that number and requesting to do a bereavement intake.
Y quiero compartir con ustedes algunos recursos, ¿verdad?, de la Asociación Canadiense de Salud Mental, que tiene un programa de recursos para el duelo. El Windsor-Essex County tiene estos servicios disponibles para adultos y para niños. Ahí en pantalla tienen la línea de crisis y la solicitud para completar una admisión de duelo, para conseguir consejería de duelo. Thank you.
And when there are other workshops and supports offered through funeral homes or other agencies, a newer support place called Julian's House, we certainly promote those as well.
Bueno, también hay otros tipos de apoyos en la comunidad. Uno de ellos se llama Julian House, que también nos ayudan en el proceso del duelo.
And so I'd also like to remind you that the Windsor-Essex Community Health Center in Leamington provides ongoing support with free services. Doctors and nurses are available for physical health concerns. There are also social workers and counselors that you can access, and addiction support workers, a nutritionist, and foot care services.
Bueno, quiero recordarles también que el Windsor-Essex, el Centro de Salud Comunitaria de Windsor-Essex en Leamington, ofrece servicios gratis, doctores y enfermeras para su salud, trabajadores sociales y consejeros, trabajadores de apoyo en adicciones, nutricionistas y también cuidado para sus pies. Thank you.
And in addition, there is a free mobile walk-in unit on Sundays from 1 to 6 p.m. at 33 Princess Street in Leamington. Free, no need to call ahead. Just show up and there will be a doctor there to talk to you about your health.
Nuestra unidad médica también está disponible para ti los domingos de 1 a 6 de la tarde en el 33 de Princess Street. Estará dando citas gratuitas y no es necesario reservar ni que llame con anticipación. Venga a hablar con nuestro médico sobre sus necesidades de salud. Este servicio es gratis. Thank you.
In addition, there is the Migrant Worker Community Program, social, cultural, recreational, and communication opportunities. The number to call is there on screen, 519-325-0876. They're also on WhatsApp, Facebook, and they also have a YouTube channel.
El programa comunitario para el trabajador migrante es justamente donde se ofrece servicios para estas personas. Ustedes en pantalla tienen el número de teléfono, el número de WhatsApp y también tienen una página en Facebook que se llama Migrant Worker Community Program. Así también como una página en YouTube, Migrant Worker Community Program.
And also, please know that there is the Community Crisis Center available for support. There's the 24-hour crisis phone line, 519-973-4435, with language translation services. They're located in Windsor at 744 Olat Avenue, and you'll see the hours there, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., 7 days per week. And there's follow-up crisis counseling and community referral support.
También existe nuestro centro comunitario de crisis con una línea telefónica en casos de crisis las 24 horas del día. El número está en pantalla, 519-973-4435. Se ofrece servicios sin tener cita previa. Estamos en el 744 de Holloway Avenue, en Windsor, y los horarios de atención son de 8 a 7 días por semana. También, bueno, recordamos la primera línea telefónica que es para 24 horas por día. También ofrecemos asesoramiento y seguimiento en casos de crisis. Thank you.
And also please note that the Canadian Mental Health Association Windsor-Essex County Branch has a workplace outreach program that's available on site at various workplaces to provide information and referral to resources, as well as one-on-one confidential counseling and mental health and well-being workshops. And the person to contact for that is Carrie Davis, and you'll note her email address and phone number is listed on screen.
Bueno, la Asociación Canadiense de Salud Mental tiene un programa especial de alcance a su lugar de trabajo. Está disponible en varios lugares de trabajo, proporciona información y referencias, da asesoramiento de apoyo confidencial 1 a 1, así también como talleres de salud mental y bienestar. El contacto es Carrie Davis y ahí está su email y su número de teléfono. Thank you.
And also wanting to remind you, if you haven't already, not to forget to download the Hub Connect app on your smartphone. This app is amazing as it offers information on local resources, healthcare, food, community events, worker health, and safety, and much, much more. And it is specific to migrant workers and temporary foreign workers.
Bueno, también les queremos recordar que tenemos una aplicación que usted puede bajar en su teléfono que se llama bueno, se llama Hub Connect App. O sea, da información sobre recursos de salud, comida, acceso a comida, eventos de comunidad y seguridad. La información es específica para trabajadores inmigrantes y extranjeros.
And lastly, also reminded of or note for the first time that the Bounce Back program is available. It's a program designed to help adults and youth who are age 15 and above manage low mood, mild to moderate depression, anxiety, stress, or worry. It's delivered over the phone with a coach and through online videos. And you would have access to tools that will support you on your own path to mental wellness. So it's a free self-help program designed specifically to tackle anxiety and depression. And the website, bouncebackontario.ca, or the 800 number is there available for you.
También tenemos disponible el programa que se llama Bounce Back. Es para personas que son mayores de 15 años, para adultos y jóvenes mayores de 15 años, quienes tienen una depresión moderada, también ansiedad, estrés o preocupación. Esta forma de comunicarse es a través del teléfono con una persona especializada, como también a través de videos en línea. Los individuos pueden tener acceso a estas herramientas que los van a apoyar a ellos en su camino para un mejoramiento de su salud mental. Thank you.
And it appears there are no questions. If any are coming in, we'll certainly address those, but want to thank each of you for your participation and presence here today. I hope that some helpful information was given that you really can use and be reminded of. It really is important, as I said, to not think we shouldn't feel the pain of loss, because when someone has impacted our life, most certainly it hurts. And wherever you are at on your journey, I wish you very well. And again, remember to be patient with yourself.
Bueno, queremos agradecerle, gracias por su tiempo. Es muy importante que cuando existe un duelo, nosotros lo aceptemos y tomemos los pasos necesarios, como lo hemos estado explicando en esta presentación.
And wanting to acknowledge our sponsors, LIUNA 625, the Windsor Essex Community Foundation, as well as Green Shield Canada. Thank you for your sponsorship support.
Bueno, también queremos agradecer a nuestros auspiciantes que tienen ahí en pantalla, LIUNA C25, el Windsor Essex Community Foundation y el Green Shield.
And lastly, if you're able to help us out and complete the survey based on your thoughts on what was offered here today, that's greatly appreciated using the QR code or the website address is on screen. Thank you very much.
Y finalmente, si también nos pueden ayudar completando la encuesta, ahí tienen en pantalla, ¿verdad? El website, el sitio web, el enlace donde pueden completar la encuesta. Muchas gracias.
Take good care, everyone. Thanks once again. Bye-bye.
Adiós y muchas gracias nuevamente.